What's up, everyone? Yes, it is I, your host, Natalie Morrison, and you might be thinking, wasn't this called Swim Masters? Well, yes, it was, and you're definitely in the right place. We decided that we wanted to give the podcast a bit of a makeover, and we're so proud to introduce to you Revoicing the Future, a Women of NAMM podcast. Don't worry, it's still the same content, still the same hosts. We just wanted to take this to the next level. And we're excited that you're joining us on this fantastic journey. The episode that you're currently listening to was recorded before the name change. And I just wanted to let you know that you are in the right spot. So keep on listening. Be sure to subscribe and stay tuned for all new episodes of Revoicing the Future, a Women of NAMM podcast, coming soon. Welcome to Swim Masters, a podcast dedicated to help connect, grow, and support women in the music products industry. I am your host, Natalie Morrison. The Smart Women in Music Fund was established in 2018 by Robin Walenta, Dee Dee Hyde, and Crystal Morris to expand diversity, inclusion, and support for women in the music products space. Twice a month, I will sit down and host virtual conversations with various women across our industry to help foster mentorship and growth. Now, without further ado, let's dive in. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Swim Masters. I'm your host, Natalie Morrison, alongside my trusty sidekick, Stephanie.
What's up, everybody? How's everybody doing today?
I always have to mix it up a little bit.
I love it. No, I love it. Continue to do it. It's great. No one knows what they're going to get.
I know. It's a mystery. I'm a very mysterious person. How would you figure that out? I'm trying not to be as mysterious because then people don't actually get to know who I am. So okay, that was really dark. That was a little dark. I didn't mean it that dark.
Everybody be assured I will be talking to Natalie after this to make sure she's okay. And then we're good. We're good.
I'm sorry. It's really hot in my room right now. I'm starting to lose it a little bit. I closed my window because I didn't want the sounds of New York City to come through the podcast. So the heat's getting to me. The thing is, I love New York, but when it hits 70 degrees, it's you can't be in anything. You're hot regardless. And I'm trying really hard not to turn on the AC because that costs money.
Yeah, I was gonna say
dollars.
Money. Meanwhile, I've had my heat running for probably 4 months straight.
Oh my god, still?
It's so expensive. Yeah, every now we actually had a really beautiful day yesterday, but today it's that awkward, you have a beautiful day and then the tides do that upwelling thing, so it's deeply foggy the day after you have a beautiful day. So we're just in a cloud right now, which is fine, but I'm cold, so I would like some of your heat, and I will give you some of my beautiful, fresh ocean, frigid air.
I don't want any cold air. I'm going to stick with the warmth. We've had a long winter. I'll send you the nice weather, but you can keep it. You can keep the cold.
I'll take the heat, none of the humidity, and we'll meet somewhere and it's just San Diego, man. 72, beautiful, non-humid.
That's the solution to it all.
Well, and speaking of that, this episode, we're talking to two gals who figured it out and don't live in frigid/overly hot places. We're talking to Claire and Sharon from NAMM, which is based in North County, San Diego, Carlsbad. Where good old Steph grew up. And sometimes I wish I could do half my year down there and half up here simply because of the weather. So anyway, that is, again, a topic for another conversation. But so we've got Claire and Sharon. They're both senior project managers.
Chip and Chop.
AKA Chip and Chop. Oh my gosh, which I'm so excited for you all to hear. They're just the best. I feel so lucky to know them and to have known them. Their nicknames, I took it back to my boss. Actually, I don't know if I did yet. Anyway, I feel like my boss and I are a very Chip and Chop relationship as well. And I feel like it's helpful to, and Natalie and I feel like are chip and chop a little bit, right? You said, I think whether you're a chip or a chop depends on where you're from. As we talk about, as we've been talking about today, just because the weather. So anyway, it's a really fun conversation that also gets into their roles on the NAMM Public Affairs and Government Relations team and the NAMM Foundation teams. They're both absolute powerhouses at NAMM. Claire's been around there for like 7 years ish, and Sharon
24,
for, let me
25.
check, because I was a child, 23 years and 8 months. Yeah, Sharon, fun fact, everybody.
She started when I was born.
Yeah, Sharon babysat me a few times when I was a small little child and little Will dog. So she's affectionately more like an aunt than anything. I adore Sharon, but yeah, as we talk about, like, they're just, it's exciting to finally turn our interviewing laser onto the NAMM team because we love them so much, and we've been lucky enough to work with them and overlap with them forever. So these are two incredible members to spotlight, and I hope if you didn't know about Claire and Sharon, Chip and Chop, that now you are very aware of the work that they do and can get involved with the NAMM Foundation and their public affairs. And I know they have an event coming up, right, that we wanted to talk about?
Yeah. So some housekeeping things. We talk about this in the episode, but NAMM is hosting their advocacy summit on May 25th. So you can head over to namm.org to learn more and sign up. And we'll also have the link in the description below. So
woohoo, get involved. It's cool. It's a good cause. It's, I mean, as we all know, right? Making music is the best. Music education needs to keep happening. And that's what it's all about, right? And so, yeah, get involved however you can, however you feel. It's a beautiful tool to create a better world.
And if you don't recognize the title, the NAMM Advocacy Summit is basically the NAMM fly-in, but because we can't be in person, this is what they're doing. So with that said, we don't want to take too much of everyone's time with our babbling.
Yeah. We're babbling today. Enjoy these two powerhouses, and we'll see you next time. Have fun.
See you next time.
Yay!
Perfect. Hi, Claire and Sharon. Thank you so much for joining Swim Masters. Stephanie and I are so excited to have you.
Thank you for having us. Happy to be here.
Yeah, thank you. We're excited.
With a little Stephanie hello.
I'm here too. Hi.
So I'm going to start with the two of you and would love just a brief overview of your journey into the music industry and your current roles at NAMM, and then we'll get into the nitty gritty a little bit. So whoever wants to start.
Sharon, you should start. You've been here longer.
Okay, I will go first because I'm older. No, So I started it. My journey is not the traditional, I went and played music in school, yada, yada, yada. I started actually, I didn't play music in school. I didn't do any of that. I studied psychology in school, got my degree in psychology. And when I was trying to figure out what am I going to do next, I was looking for a job. Am I going to go on and get my master's? And I went through the temp agency and they were hiring at NAMM.
Oh my gosh, I had no idea.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was a mile away from my house. And I was like, okay, what's NAMM? I had never heard of NAMM. But this great building on top, a mile away from my house. I'm like, okay, I'll do this. It was an admin position. I got hired in market development with this person you might have heard of, Bob Morrison, and Pat Page. And so I got hired, and the next day everybody left for Summer NAMM, and I was there. I was like, what am I doing here? It was great. So I took a job as an admin person as a temp for 2 months, and then I got hired full time, and I haven't looked back. It's been amazing. And then I just kind of moved my way up through admin and then project management. And that's, again, not traditional. Didn't study music. I don't have a music background, but I love the industry. I love the mission. I love the people.
Oh, I love that. That's awesome.
I love that you're also a psych major. I didn't know that. I was a psych major. But you probably knew that. I didn't know that about you.
I knew that.
Claire.
That Natalie seemed shocked that you knew that your dad was my first director? No, maybe.
Yes, I did. I know that you received the fake birth announcement.
Okay.
What was the fake birth announcement in like, as short as we have? But
he joked and he sent out a birth announcement to everyone at NAMM saying that I was born, but that my name was Natalie Ann Marie Morrison, so that my initials spelled out to be NAMM. No, it's not.
Depends on who you ask.
It's such a funny
I actually
joke
thought that was real. Is that not real?
Yeah, I use it sometimes because I like it better than just.
That's commitment. That's commitment.
All right, Claire.
Yes. So I'm originally from New Jersey, also, Natalie and Bob.
Yeah, right.
And I was an English
liberal arts
major
people.
in college. I was going to be a poet, also lucrative, right?
Psychology.
Yes. Yes. And I wanted to be an author, and I had a whole list of things that I was going to do. And then I moved out to California. I had a bunch of adventures in between. I lived in Alaska for a while. I was a bartender there. I lived in Salt Lake City. I was really kind of had a nomad spirit and wanted to live and work and try a bunch of different things before I settled down. So I ended up in San Diego, and I got my first publishing job at a little press. And I was a writer and editor, moving through the publishing community for a lot of years. And publishing is a challenged profession in that, a lot of people, similar to the music industry, people aren't really buying books, they're doing audiobooks, and so it was a tough market for keeping a job because there were lots of mergers and acquisitions. Larger publishers would subsume smaller ones, and I was at a tiny press that was sold and bought many times over. And then I was a freelancer for a long time.
Wow.
And then I got into academic publishing. And so I did that for a while, and I was going crazy because in academic publishing, you'll read the same textbook for 5 years. It goes through multiple rounds of editing and stuff like that. And I was antsy, right? And then I was laid off. I went from being antsy to being laid off because there was just a huge crash in the publishing market, and I was unemployed for about 3 months, I think, something like that. And I just was like kind of resetting myself, right? So I went to all of my friends and my former coworkers, and I said, I'm done with publishing. I'm tired of this in and out, up and down. Let's look at my skill set. Help me see what I'm not seeing, right? So if I'm going to make a jump to another industry, what are the skills that will transfer? And so a lot of the skills that I had in publishing had to do with organization and managing large budgets and all of that, people skills, working with authors, editors, academics. And so we sort of looked at all that and said, oh, project management, right? So then looking for jobs, saw NAMM, didn't know what NAMM was. This was in 2014. And it sounded really interesting. The job description was very vague and
nonprofit.
I know, yeah, nonprofit. I loved the idea that it was an organization with a mission. These were the things that I knew. And I actually applied for a position with Public Affairs, where I am now under Mary Lurson, but I also applied for the position in professional development under Zach Phillips. And I interviewed with Sharon and Eric Abel and Zach Phillips all together, and they fought terribly over me. Just kidding. Public Affairs was where my heart was. I fell in love with Sharon and Eric. Like just immediately, they were just such a delight. They'd been at NAMM for a long time, and coming from my background, where most people at my level in my field were 2, 3, maybe 4 years, and then something would happen. You'd either get laid off or the company would get bought and sold. And here I'm talking to these people that have been at this company for 20 years. It's very appealing to me. As far as music goes, I played piano and clarinet in school band as a kid. And then as a grown-up person, I took electric bass lessons and used to play open mic nights by myself, solo, electric bass, and sing. Insane.
Yes.
So
Love that. Very Lemmy of you.
yes. It was, I used to be braver, but I just loved the energy and the mission and the work and the variety of work that we get to do. So now I'm a senior project manager. Sharon and Eric also are senior project managers, and we work really well as a team. And I love the variety of work, the mission. It's been a really great fit. I just had my 7-year anniversary on Friday, April 16th. So yeah, exciting.
Aw.
That's so rad.
So I want to touch on your career a little bit,
Okay.
Claire, because like you said, you started off in the world of publishing and moved your way over into music products. So how did you know that making a move to another job, career path was the right choice? And what advice would you give to someone who might be looking to make a career change but aren't sure if that's the right decision?
The biggest, I've been asked this question before because it was a big jump. And partially for me, it was when I was 12 years old in New Jersey at Highlands Elementary School, I knew 3 things about myself. I wanted to be a published author, I wanted to move to California, and I wanted to own a Jeep. I have accomplished 2 of those 3 things. I do not own a Jeep. So that is still to come. But my point is, I always, some people always knew what they were going to be or what they were going to do. And for me, it was always, I was going to be a writer. I was always going to be an author or a poet or somewhere in that world. And so it was painful to me to come to the realization that being in publishing wasn't giving me back what I was putting in. Right. So I would just work so hard at it, and I would write these books, and I would nonfiction books for reluctant readers, kids, and do all of this work. And then there was just very little given back in return. There was no loyalty. Everything was always came down to the bottom line, which I understand is important in business, but it was very disappointing. And so my sort of dream of making a life in publishing was trashed over the years. So the key for me was once I accepted that, and I said to myself, I don't have to abandon all of the skills I've learned, the lessons I've learned. I can still do all of those things, but maybe apply it to a new industry that is more giving, that there's more of a connection, more of a mission other than just selling books. So it really was luck in a lot of ways that I found NAMM, because like I said, I hadn't heard of it except for I had a friend. When I told him I applied, he was like, oh my God, he was a tour person for Jason Mraz. So of course he knew all about NAMM, and he was like, it's so awesome. But I think the smartest thing I did, and I would tell anyone looking to make a career change or to just like take a moment to think about where you are in your career, to ask your trusted friends and colleagues and say, what do you see as my skills? What are the things that I can take and transfer to another project, another program, another position in my company, another job if it's time to move on, a volunteer situation? Because you don't really ever, sometimes it's hard to see in yourself. And Sharon and I work really well together. We're very complementary in both the ways. We complement each other, and we complement each other with the E, because we're really good at noticing, paying attention to, and telling each other what we're good at. Because you don't always see that. And so if you want to make a jump or you want to do something, talk to the people you trust, and they'll tell you, you are amazing at organizing whatever. You're great at content. You're so creative. And then you just start drilling down and you look at what are the industry terms for that, for organization while it's project management. And then you start looking for those and matching your skills to the terms in the profession that you're looking to jump to. Does that make sense?
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's real.
I love that.
Just to tag on to what Claire was saying, because I've been at NAMM so long that sometimes it's hard for me to see what she's saying. But like she just said, compliment each other, yeah, about yourself. So I'll be like, because I'm in the job for so long, she can really point out those things about yourself, I'm talking about me. I'll be like, I'm not good at that, or I don't see how I can do that. And she can, tell me the things
And
that
they'll say, what are you talking about? You're managing our entire communication pipeline.
Right. I'm in it and I'm doing it for so long that I lose sight. It's so easy.
That's a powerful team effort too. And like how that's really good to have those two voices, right? Like someone that is like more new to, like 7 years isn't new, but comparatively, right? Like you have like a different, or even just like a different industry perspective paired with, someone that's been doing the job for longer. That's a good just team building note right there, that helps you both out a lot.
Our whole department's like that, I would say.
Yeah.
We really work well together.
I love that. So supportive.
The dream team.
I also want to point out that's really powerful. Like, I think that's something that the publishing industry probably shares with the music industry, and that a lot of times, and it's not always this way. Some people are just in it because like it's the job, but a lot of times that's probably a very identity driven industry too. Like you are a writer,
Yes.
like you're meant to be in this. And that's powerful to be able to almost like self-preservation your way out of that, like be able to separate that from your identity. Like you're still a published writer, even if your day job is not in the publishing industry. And so that's a really powerful thing you were able to do. I think that's just well done. I admire that.
Thank you. It was a great exercise. And it was just sort of, when you're laid off, even if it's not based on merit or anything like that, or even if it is, if you're just if a person is straight up fired for whatever reason, or you're laid off as part of mass layoffs, which is what happened to me, you still have this feeling of, well, why me? Did I not bring value to this? And so it's really important, and soon after or before you're going to make a change, to start asking people what those qualities are, because we are our own worst critics. And I think it's especially true with women. One of the things,
totally,
if I may just jump for a second, that I came in and I feel like I brought to the women on the team was to stop saying sorry before everything. Sorry,
yes,
or I just want to say, or I'm sorry to bother you, but we're allowed to take up space and have an opinion and be, and have expertise and, so it's been really fun and interesting to grow in that way with this team. But I will say particularly the women on the team.
I love that.
I love that. Oh, jinx.
I love that journey for us.
I think they are the chip and chop of this podcast.
We got to keep this energy flowing. And in that way, I guess we, speaking of evolving too with the team. So to bring it back to the event that we have coming up, we will get back to there. But so going back to public affairs and the work that you do with NAMM and with the NAMM Foundation. So advocacy is a huge part of that. So we'd love to hear, for someone that might not be as familiar with how that works, what is your day-to-day and how are you involved in that? What do your roles do? Maybe we can start with Claire or Sharon.
Well, I'll let Claire talk more about the advocacy, because she has a really big role in that. But my day-to-day, my current role is, we wear many hats like everybody does. But I currently manage the grants and scholarships. I program manage for the Best Communities for Music Education. Like Claire said, I oversee all the communications. I'm like the liaison for the department between our Marcon department and outside vendors. But I'm kind of more behind the scenes, where I think Claire and Eric and Mary are more out front, except when we go to the NAMM show, of course, or when we travel. Our department used to travel a lot. Then I'd be out front. But we wear so many hats that, like you said, like sometimes we don't even know what we're doing, but we're just kind of doing it and just kind of getting it done.
I love it.
But those are some of my main projects. I would say communications is every day, that's what I'm doing, is liaisoning about the communications and what does each program or project we're working on, what does it need? What asset does it need to communicate out?
Which is how you get the word out.
Yeah, how are we going to get it out? How are our partners?
Yeah, exactly.
How are people going to find out what we're doing and how's it going to look? I mean, I don't create the look, of course. Can't take credit for that, but
well, maybe even before we go to Claire, then how has that evolved since you've been with NAMM? Because I'm sure that's, I don't know, it's because it's all project based. I'm sure that evolves very quickly as each project and program begins. But just, are there any like looking back overarching things that pop out to you, or just trends you've seen as it's changed over time?
Yeah,
just reflections on that.
That's a good question. A lot, I think, and I really think it's when Mary kind of, I didn't work for Mary. I mean, she came, gosh, I don't even want to know what year, maybe 2000, around that time. And then she kind of merged public affairs and market development, and we all were under Mary. And I think it was just kind of her vision and her expertise in public affairs and her nonprofit work and strategic partnerships that she really knows how to expand the work, and her, building relationships. And it's that, building relationships with other, the network, and just really just taking what we do and just expanding and getting it out, taking the mission and the vision out there. I just really saw what we did, and it just grew. And it was just really under Mary, that leadership of, just her knowledge of that. It just really grew. Just, being at NAMM for so long, you would think, oh my God, how do you do the same thing? But it changes. Even though some of our legacy programs are the same, she is so good about making it different or asking us to be creative and innovative within the project. So it might be the same, like Best Communities. That's a 22-year-old program, but each year we have to refine it. We have to be creative with it. We have to be innovative. So she is so good with asking us to be innovative all the time within the programs. I love that about her. And it's challenging.
Great stuff. Yay. Thank you for that. Perfect. All right, Claire, what about your day-to-day, to bring it back up to the present?
Day-to-day, I mean, it's our day-to-day in general has changed quite a bit this last year, obviously. So the focus on policy issues the heat has really turned up in this last year with all of the relief programs and the aerosol study and all of the various issues that we're tracking and following. And so I was more fully integrated onto the policy team. So that's me and Eric and Mary, and then the firm we work with out of Washington, D.C. So there are issues that I watch specifically, and if I see something, I'll bring it to their attention. And then usually there's a discussion about, is it something that we need to do a webinar on? Can it be an article? Is it an e-blast, etc.? I do a lot of the writing for our team. I do almost all the editing. Mary signs off on everything, which is good. So there's the policy side of my job has gotten a lot more ramped up this year. The foundation side is more, for me, related to NAMM shows. I usually run the day of service in Anaheim and Washington, D.C. I also run the fly-in in Washington, D.C. This year I'm running the Advocacy Summit, and we all have roles to play, but I just sort of oversee the full project, and there are a million little details for each thing. So we'll have, today we had a launch meeting for a new project, and on the foundation side, I feel like what I'm mostly doing, honestly, right now is editing and writing content. And then I run the Gen Next program at the NAMM show, which falls under the foundation. I am the executive producer of the Grand Rally for Music Education at the NAMM show. And I took a pretty strong lead role in figuring out technology for our team this last year of how to do Zoom really well, and then StreamYard, and also with OBS and Voicemeeter Banana. These names of these products are just hilarious. Voicemeeter Banana. And so Mary, our director, Mary, tends to use me for in a lot of ways for new projects or things that are experimental. She'll have me run it down all the way to see if it's worth something pursuing, or how, can it improve our processes, or can we help another organization? We've helped NAFME a couple of times. We worked with Conselmer on their HBCU National Band Directors Consortium meeting and various other projects like that. So sometimes if we're working with an outside company, Mary will tap me to work with that organization. But generally day to day, the last year, our team always worked really hard on lots of different things. But this last year has been like 7 times. We've done 7 times more the work than we've done in a normal year. And a lot, it's so much of it is getting information about these relief funds out to not only NAMM members, which is key, and we turned that around. So our last day in the office was March 13th of last year, 2020. And by the end of March, we already were doing our first webinar. We had no idea what we were doing at the time, just saying, hey, there's this thing called PPP. It's a loan program that can be turned into a grant. You might want to check this out. Anyway, and so it just kind of went from there, and then it became a lifeline for a lot of our NAMM members. They were coming to us in the beginning. We were doing webinars on how to move your lesson programs online. As you know, you were a part of that, Stephanie.
Yeah, I remember those early days of that.
Yeah, you were in like the first one. And we've expanded a lot of our regular programming to include music and social justice, looking at issues of race and diversity and inclusion in the music products industry, which is in a lot of ways behind where they should be, or we should be.
Yeah.
Sharon spearheaded a music and wellness program, which was new and amazing, and music and yoga, and
that was fun.
Drumming and meditation. And so,
but I love that though. It's important because as a NAMM member, and just like you're the hub for the music products industry, to take quick action when the rest of the industry was freaking out and just eloquently pivoting the way that you did. It's incredible that today, like, people are still relying on the webinars and the content that you put out just to help them get through their school year and what they do every day.
Yeah, and embracing like the holistic leadership of that. Like what you're talking about later, like that's so important, that it's not just the business aspect, it's that this is huge for everybody. So every little moving part of that.
I really do. I mean, our team really Mary, like I said, as soon as March 13th happened, March 18th, she was like, we're going, you're going to learn this. And we all just did. We just dove in, even though, Claire's a little more gutsy when it comes to some of the technology, but we all just dove in and we all learned it. We each have different parts of it, but we all learned. And I was really impressed with the team.
I love it.
And there was no competition like among the team for, like, we all are really good at different things. Sometimes there's overlap. We're good at sometimes the same thing, but we're all really simpatico. And it was shocking how much closer and more efficient we became this last year, working remotely and having to figure everything out together. And that could have gone, 2 ways. It could have gone south really quickly with lots of animosity and tantrums and anger and frustration, because some people were really good at understanding the technologies and some people struggled. But we all really on our team lift each other up. And to piggyback on what Sharon said, Mary had the vision right away in March. And similarly for Believe in Music, which replaced the NAMM show, an online event, she knew right away what our plan was and what we were going to do. And it just became, execute. So we have a lot of autonomy and creative freedom, which is exciting.
Yes. It's good.
Amazing.
So, speaking of the fact that you are a wonderful team, I hear you have nicknames for each other. Can we talk about that?
Absolutely. I'll say the nickname. It's Chip and Chop.
That's adorable.
Oh my gosh.
It's not Disneyland, but that's Chip and Dale from Disneyland. But Claire, you have to refresh my memory how we came up with Chip and Chop. I can remember Chop. That's you. I'm Chip.
Yeah, I'm Chop. Sharon is Chip because she is always delightful
Oh.
and very kind and super diplomatic. And no matter how challenging like a conversation might be, or if something is running behind, she just has this lovely disposition. So she's Chip. And let's get to the point. What's the next step? This is great. We got to move on. So I'm Chop. I'm like, somebody started just sort of saying like Chip Chop, Chip Chop, Chip Chop, Chip Chop. And then it got split out into nicknames. And now a lot of people in the company call us Chip and Chop.
You need both.
We would go into meetings as Chip and Chop.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I know. And it's
amazing.
not as, sort of reductive as good cop, bad cop, because I'm still very nice. It's just that I'm not as, but Sharon is I would just say she's much more patient than I am with certain things. And so, whereas I'm just sort of, bottom line, different than what I was talking about with publishing and money. I'm bottom line, like we got to get this thing done.
Oh my gosh, that sounds like me. Maybe that's the Jersey Bills in us.
It is totally Jersey. Natalie, when I first moved to San Diego in 1998, everyone here thought I was mean. And I said, I'm not mean, I'm direct.
That's a thing.
I get to the point, I'm direct.
I'm married to a Chicagoan, and we had to get through that in the beginning of like, I'm just being direct. And I'm like, no, why are you yelling at me? Like, I'm not yelling at you. I'm just being direct.
Yeah.
Like, I'm way more Chip as well. Maybe that's a San Diegan thing.
I think it is because I've mellowed out quite a bit.
There's like a happy medium. We can learn from each other. We can get to that Chip Chop rather than being.
Yes. And then Eric Abel is Chap.
Ooh.
like man, like chap, like chap, British chap.
He's probably the one that gave us the nickname. He is.
I know. We don't really call him that unless we're doing like some sort of trio thing, Chip, Chap, and Chop.
Unless he's earned it that day.
Yes. That's right.
So funny. Oh, I love this so much. That's amazing. So, speaking of advocacy, the NAMM Foundation is getting ready to host an advocacy summit this month. Could you both tell us a bit about what people can expect at the event and why should people join and participate?
Sure. I'll start a little bit. So it's like back to Sharon's point really quick about wearing many hats. So we're divided. Our department does two things. We're public affairs and government relations, and that's on the NAMM side. And then we're the NAMM Foundation. And the advocacy summit is on the public affairs side and NAMM. So that is and that distinction is just important because there's two different websites and there's, laws and such keeping lobbying separate from foundation work, nonprofit work. So it's on May 25th and it's open to everyone. This is the first time it's going to be open to everyone, not just NAMM members. So music educators, parents, advocates, music community organizations, teachers, faculty, students, open to all. There will be training on how to advocate for what our ask is going to be, which is still being crafted, but essentially it will be around funding for music education. And there will be training on how to talk about that. There will be a campaign to reach out to your members of Congress, your governor, and some fun little musical interstitials and important advocacy updates on where we are currently and where we hope to be in the fall. Again, for us, this is our second one of doing one of these online during this COVID period. So everything will be a little bit different again than it would quote unquote normally be when we go to DC. A big component of this is sharing. We love to share good news whenever we can. And this is where Chip comes in with Best Communities for Music Education, because that's a big part of sharing the news about school districts and the congressional districts. So Sharon?
Right. We just announced our Best Communities for Music Education districts and schools. So we had 686 districts and 80 schools that received the award this year. And so we celebrate that news with the representatives and we take flags, usually to Capitol Hill. So we will do that virtually. We will mail them, but we also want to share that good news with them. And we ask our delegates to do the same. And so we do send the flags and we send the letters, and we ask our representatives to recognize these schools and celebrate them in their own way, whether that's a proclamation or however they want to celebrate these districts with this recognition. So the Best Communities is a great way to celebrate music education and advocacy.
And the flags, just to clarify, say Best Communities for Music Education on them, so that, and in the past when we would go to DC, yep, they would be sitting on their desk, and it was so satisfying and wonderful.
This is our like 4th year doing the flags, so we do a different color each year, so multiple flags on some people's desks.
Wow.
And in some cases that has helped schools and districts save their programs, getting that recognition from their member of Congress or their governor.
Amazing. And so this is in lieu of the fly-in then, basically.
It is.
Yes. We originally started planning as if we were going to do the fly-in in person. And then as things were progressing, it became clear that we couldn't do that. So we again pivoted. We were planning for in person, and then we pivoted, and now we're doing it. And we're using the same platform as we did for Believe in Music, if you were on, anybody who's on that. So lots of chances for networking and connecting.
Cool. Yeah. And so how would people join that and or get involved with NAMM and its advocacy in general too? Any listeners who are like super inspired right now listening to all that?
Yeah. So if you go to NAMM.org, there's an Issues and Advocacy tab, and then there is an Advocacy Summit link that you can click, and you can register there. There's information there. We'll be updating it. We're still building the program because, as I said, we had to pivot. So we have all of our speaker asks out currently. But the best way you can stay informed is to go on to NAMM.org and NAMMFoundation.org and subscribe to both newsletters so that you can stay in the know.
Cool. And we'll link all of these in the show notes and such as we go.
Oh, yeah.
Our monthly newsletter is the absolute best way to do it.
Love it.
I used to poach so hard the what was it? I think it was back in the daily news roundup though from NAMM with like the good just music news for our Blueberry newsletter back when I was at my music school. I would just like, okay, great. What did they send me today? I need information.
Now, weekly beat.
It's so good. It's just a good vibe. So yeah, just everybody should subscribe to that to stay up to date. And also just to bring a smile to your face because music is wonderfully uplifting.
It is.
Wow. I think that wraps it up.
Yay. Thank you two so much for your time. It's so great to talk to you, not like sprinting through the show floor.
I know.
I know.
Always
It's really
bye,
fun.
hug, bye.
Yeah.
I know.
And
It's
I
really great.
will forever refer to you as Chip and Chop.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Please do. Yes. We have to get t-shirts.
We need to make like a quiz that we can put in the show notes. It's like, are you more Chip or Chop? And people can see who they
my
identify
God.
with.
Oh, I love that.
I'll figure out.
I
how to
love
make that
BuzzFeed
real.
quizzes.
Well,
so.
another thing is that we've always wanted to do. We have a joke because we love watching true crime shows, and we wanted to do a podcast called Spoiler Alert, and that's because I cannot hold it in about what's going to happen.
Yes.
We ruined the ending of Game of Thrones.
Well, you have to. You can't keep that in. You can't keep that in. That was. Is that a Chip thing? I do that too. I can't.
It must be a Chip thing.
I've gotten better. So it was going to be called Spoiler Alert, and we were going to talk about our shows that we watch.
She'll start with, did you see the one where, and then when she starts to say that, I say, zip it, Chip, zip it, chip it.
I can't help it.
And sometimes she can't help it, so she'll keep going, and she'll be like, no, I just want to know if you saw the one where.
But isn't it interesting how it's so good?
I get really excited.
Yes.
I know you can't tell right now,
Talk about
but
it.
I get really excited.
So sometimes I won't even tell her I'm watching something until I'm done, just in case.
Yeah.
So we will stay tuned for the successful spin-off podcast.
Yes,
Spoiler alert.
alert.
Chip and
Yes.
Chop.
Chip and Chop.
Well, on that note,
I have to go watch some true crime. Well, thanks for everything you
love
guys
you
do.
both.
You're impressive.
Yeah, delightful.
Oh, thank you for everything. Oh my goodness. Yes.
No.
Hugs. Thank
You're
you
incredible.
for doing the work that you do and being part of our lives. You are fantastic parts of our industry and NAMM. So I'm honored to know you and to have grown up idolizing you. So that's great.
Aw.
You're here.
I don't know. You guys are doing a lot.
So much love.
You're doing a lot. That's impressive.
Only because we had great examples
No.
to look up to. So, there we go.
Ayo.
Yay, well, thank you.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Swim Masters. Don't forget to follow us on social media, including Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn, to stay up to date on all new things swim. We'd love it if you could share and leave us a review. If you'd like to learn more, please visit us at smartwomeninmusic.org. This episode was co-produced and edited by Stephanie Lamond, Natalie Morrison, and Julia Olsen. See you next time.